How do I know it's an old account? So when you see like a bunch of zeros, it's very old. Like I am day one, but my user ID only goes up to 900. Then it starts with like five something something something. So they are literally like the I guess the first 2000 player to create their user ID. Gabrana just staring at the chest. Hello Rovers, and welcome back to another account review. Today we will be reviewing Iroha's account, and they say that their account is bricked. So let's see what's happening, what's going on. Maybe if we have enough time, we can do a little bit of tower and Wuwa. So number one, Galbrana. Galbrana with crit rate, crit damage a little bit on the low side. Energy regen is looking quite a lot. Static miss, okay. You are using 43311 build, which is great. Yesterday's build was 4431, which was a little bit horrifying to look at. So we are starting off strong already. So fusion, crit rate, fusion, attack. Why is this HP? You want an attack percentage over here. So with static mist, you kind of don't need any energy regen rolls. Maybe just one will do. Okay, so if you want to rework on this, I would say you don't need too much crit rate because her Flame Wing Shadow is already giving 20% crit rate. When you deal echo skill damage, you increase your heavy crit rate. When you deal heavy attack damage, you increase your echo skill crit rate by 20%. So it's basically just 20% for Galbrana. So therefore, you can afford to actually change that crit rate forecast to a crit damage forecast because you're also using static mist. Right now, you have 92.6% crit rate. That 20% crit rate is not shown here because it's like a very stat specific crit rate. You probably want to change this one out first to crit damage, and then after that get this one to attack percentage, and then change this one as well to crit rate. She doesn't really need you to level the normal attack. Instead, you want to max out Forte Circuit and President's Liberation. These two are the most important part of her kits. Brand has enough energy regen for its set to work. A little bit low on the crit damage side. Crit rate might be a little bit low as well. Good attack. Overture. No signature weapon. Okay. Let's see what's going on. This is 3-5, 4-5, 2-5, 4-5, and 2-5. I think for Brand, what you want to rework on is definitely this echo and this echo. You want to rework on this one, probably do try to get your double crit and energy regen or attack percentage, and then after that rework on. If you do get energy regen over here, you can rework on the Dragon of Dirge first. If not, then rework on this one first, the Diana's Knight. Once again, get a 3-5 stat instead of double crit, so it's like double crit and energy regen or another attack percentage, and then after that Dragon of Dirge. So when you want to know when you can keep it at 2-5 or 3-5 is when your double crit rolls are like one lowest roll, one mid roll, not very worth it. If for example this crit damage roll is 21% instead, so it's like the highest roll for crit damage 21%, or maybe 12.6 and 10.5, you can probably keep them as they are. But this one right now is lowest roll and mid roll, so replace this one. And for Brand, you want to upgrade the Forte Circuit for the anchor and the normal attack. That's about it. The Liberation doesn't do a lot of damage. Only when you have the materials, then level this up. Lupa with 2020 116.8. Yeah, 116 is a little bit on the lower end. You may want 120. At least that's what I find a lot better to manage. Autumn Trace. You can just use Ages of Harvest. When you are using the Ages of Harvest, your crit rate will be a lot. So only when you can, then change to crit damage Lioness of Glory. Still keep this crit rate in case if you ever do want to get Lupa's signature weapon. Anyways, 3-5, 3-5, attack, okay. Double fusion is best, but since you already got 3-5, just keep it as fusion and attack already. 3-5 and 2-5. Your Lupa stats are actually looking quite okay amongst the first three that we've seen so far. If you do want to replace anything, start with this one first. And then I think it should be okay already. Just this one. Yep. Forte Circuit and Liberation, yep. You know. Do you have... Ah, yeah. Do you have any signature weapons? No. Abyss Surges. Why is she not maxed? Anyways, definitely change this. This is 1-5, 3-5, 2-5, 3-5, 2-5. After replacing this one, you want double crit and energy regen. Then after that, this one, these two are shit rolls. 6.3, lowest roll crit rate. 13.8, second lowest roll for crit damage. Then after that, rework on this one because you need more crit rate, honestly. 55% crit rate for not enough. Definitely not enough. And especially the fact that you do not have any signature weapon. Yeah, that's going to be a bit more of a problem. For focus on Forte Circuit and Liberation onto Augusta. Augusta will be the energy regen is a little bit low. Crit rate 65.6. You are using with Helios Cleaver. I still do think for Augusta you actually want to use with Ages of Harvest, simply just for the statistic. And potentially consider crit damage sovereign with Ages of Harvest. So let's see. It's 2-5, 3-5, 4-5, 3-5, and 3-5. These two are once again pretty low rolls. Probably rework on this one and then get a crit damage false sovereign. Then your Augusta should be all good, especially when she uses this Ages of Harvest. For her, yeah, Forte Circuit and Resonance Liberation, these two are the most important. Okay, Frolova. Frolova has pretty nice looking crit rate. Crit damage a little bit on the low side. Don't need energy. Attack maybe slightly low. Fusion accretion. Maybe you're using the rhyme ship sprouts. Which I would say is probably a good stat stick for Frolova since you don't have any other weapon. Though the best would be to get her own weapon because her own weapon will really buff Frolova by a huge mega amount. So that's what you're missing out on here. Okay. 3-5, 3-5, 4-5, no 3-5. We do not count that Resonance Liberation. Beautiful 4-5, 3-5. Okay, the only thing that you need to rework on is probably this one, and then it should be quite okay already. Right now for your account, your goal is to not enter the min-max stage yet, but more of to fix your builds. So yeah, for your account, I wouldn't suggest any min-max just yet. Just try to fix some of these. But Frolova should be on your last few priority lists because her echoes all across the board are looking quite okay. Maybe just this one, try to get one more highlighter stat and that's about it. For her, level up the Forte Circuit and Liberation. Normal attack is only when you have the resources, otherwise just these two. And then Carthethia with 39k HP, okay, nice. Energy regen, 119, okay, 62%, so 72, 234. Guardian Sword, I would prefer using Emerald of Genesis, because with 24% crit rate, you will be at 96% crit rate when you're using Windward Pilgrimage. So that really does help her with the crit by so much more. Whereas the skill 1 just level up to 6. I don't know. Some of them just want to keep it at 1, I guess. Which is fine. It's not too big of a deal. Level 6 does help a bit. Okay, this is a 3-5. This is a 2-5. No, 3-5 without crit at all. This is a 3-5. No, 4-5. 3-4-5 and 3-5. Your Carthethia crit stats are all on the low side, which is not great, but this would be on min-max realm already. So once you are like done fixing your guys over here, you can consider coming back to Carthethia and maybe try re-rolling for better rolls. But first thing that I will work on is probably this one, which doesn't really give her anything. Like energy regen, not really needed if you are using the Emerald of Genesis. And then this lowest roll basic attack damage bonus and flat HP ain't gonna do much for her. HP percentage is way better. So yeah, get another Kelpie. That's probably your top priority for Carthathia. Okay, normal attack maxed, Forte Circuit, Liberation. So max this one and max this one and it should be good. Chakona. Chakona is at 80, 90. The energy regen's not enough. When you do your rotation with Chakona, you're gonna find yourself lacking enough energy regen during her rotations to get her out back. That's a very interesting choice. Why do you have a support signature weapon, but your DPS don't have signature weapon? It's a very interesting choice. Well, okay, Dracona with 3-5 without crit, 2-5 and 3-5, and technical 5-5, 3-5. Maybe he got lucky. Maybe. When you rework on Fleur-de-Lis, do try to get an energy regen. And you can consider going crit damage because your crit rate is so high, since you're also using the signature weapon which has 36% crit rate. So crit damage, Fleur-de-Lis, Gust of Welkin, try to get energy regen, try to get double crit. And then I think your Chakona should be a lot less clunky to rotate with, and she'll get her rotation back in time. Rolling for free pools, you have her, didn't have any other banner characters, so you pull for a weapon and got it early. Why don't you save it for your signature weapons of like DPSs? Like, I don't know, maybe gauntlets, because your gauntlets don't have any signature weapon at all, which makes it, I guess, a lot harder to use. Also, Zenny with, okay, crit rate, crit damage, pretty good looking energy regen and attack. Celestial Spiral, yeah, Abyss Surges, Gambling Addiction, fair enough. But I would say that you can do Gambling Addiction when your Resonators are enough for you to be able to clear the endgame so that you can get your airstrikes reliably. When you do not have strong enough Resonators for your playstyle to clear the endgame, then that's where you'll need to be a little bit more disciplined with your airstrikes and instead of gambling for everyone. I know that it's so hard to miss everyone, but you do need to at least like have maybe like 1 or 2 DPSs with their signature weapons so that they are like super buffed and can handle anything and everything that comes their way. Anyways, okay, first mistake for Zenny, Capitainus, should be the 3 cost. Why? Spectral damage bonus and heavy attack damage bonus. And I think your Zenny will be way stronger now. Okay, but anyways, 3-5, 4-5, crit rate 2-5, 2-5. I would say for Zenny, you can potentially go crit damage when you have crit rate across all your other echoes. But right now your crit rate is kind of oof. So yeah, stick to the Morning X crit rate for now. If you do want to rework on your Zenny, then rework on this one first. Second lowest roll. And then after that, this one. But this one will be min-max. So after maybe you like rework on this one to get higher crit stats. Maybe one more stat like attack or energy or heavy. Then you can try, if you have like around 40% crit rates, then you can look at crit damage Morning X. If not, stick to crit rate. Then for Zenny, level up the Liberation as well as the Forte Circuit, and then followed by Resonance Skill. Cantarella is wow. Energy regen might be a little bit on the low side, but if you keep in mind to constantly use this Resonance Skill, you should be able to get her out back in time. Fusion Accretion, probably you'll be using Cosmic Ripples or Rhyme-Shaped Drops. Rhyme-Shaped Sprouts. Oh wait, Rhyme-Draped Sprouts. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I guess you're using Cantarella with only Furlova, so that's okay. 3-5, Technical 4-5 with Liberation, 3-5, 4-5, Technical 3-5, and 3-5. I guess for Cantarella, if you do want to work on anything, it's going to be so hard to work on your Cantarella. Why? Because these 3-5s and 4-5s do not have energy regen roll. And then, so that means if you want to rework on your Cantarella, the only thing that you can work on is this crit damage and this energy regen, which means you have to roll for double crit and energy regen, which is might be a tall order if your rolling luck aren't that good. Anyways, for Cantarella, level up the Forte, level up the Liberation, only when you can, and when you have nothing else to level, then the skill. Phoebe is 1888, a lot of energy regen, crit rate, crit damage, Ocean's Gift. Ocean's Gift, sure, I guess this sort of does work. No. No. For this one, you want to use Moonlit. Basically, if you're using Phoebe as Zenny's buff bot, you want to use Moonlit to further buff Zenny. Because Phoebe's Confessions mode, basically the blue state, which gives a lot of spectral frazzle, doesn't have a lot of damage multiplier. So Moonlit is the better set for Confession Phoebe who is buffing Zenny. So that's something to keep in mind. Do you have a mullet set? Okay, you do have a mullet set. What's the heck? Okay, we'll go through that in a bit. But when you're using a buff, right? Like, not buff. When you're using a buff bot, you want to use the full 5-piece mullet set. 22.5% attack buff on the next resonator upon using Ultra skill. Very, very important. Okay, for the mullet to really work for the next resonator, you need the 5-piece set. Anyways, Phoebe, if you're using Phoebe as a buff bot, probably don't really need to focus on any of these other than just getting the Liberation and maybe the 40 circuit once again. That's about it. Rosha, I'm not too sure about Rosha, but I think Rosha is going to need some 70% crit rate. For every 0.1 crit over 50, skill increases attack by 1 point for 30 seconds up to 200 points. Yeah, so your Rosha is going to need 70% crit rate. Your Rosha, basically your Rosha is not buffing anyone. And yeah, because you don't have a crit rate gauntlet, this makes your Rosha's out completely cosmetic. Technical 4-5, 3-5, 2-5, 3-5, and 4-5. I would say probably not even worth it to update anything on Rosha for now until you get a crit rate weapon for her, because right now she won't really bring anything to the team with her being at 50% crit rate only. Hey, Carlotta attack and energy regen's perfectly fine, crit rate's fine, crit damage is okay. Using Undying Flame when you can, do swap to Static Miss, and when you have Static Miss, it's very high crit rate. So probably you actually want to use a crit damage instead of a crit rate Sentry Construct. And then this one's a 3-5. Once again, very low rolls. 4-5, 3-4-5, and 3-5. So if you're using with Static Miss, get crit damage, and then replace this one, and I think your Carlotta should be way better. Is it not better with Chacona's signature? It is better with Chacona's signature, but you are going to overcrit. For Carlotta, max out the Liberation, max out the Circuit, max out the skill, and these nodes, and you should be good. Camellia, 2k attack, crit rate of 65%, crit damage of 267.6. So your crit damage and crit rate looks quite okay. Oh, you're using Raid Spring. How rare. How rare. No, you don't want to use Dreamless. You want to be using Nightmare Crownless. Do you have Nightmare Crownless unlocked? You do not. And this one is 2, 2-5, 4-5, 2-5, and 4-5. For Nightmare Crownless, you can find it in Penance End. This one over here. So it says to discover all Dream Patrol challenges, right? So once you've found all your Dream Patrol challenges, then you will be able to find your Nightmare Crownless over here. And you can farm some Nightmare Crownless for your Camellia. So Nightmare Crownless, do not use Dreamless. Dreamless doesn't really help at all. And rework on this one. Shit lowest roll and shit lowest roll. So you don't want to see those. And probably this one as well after you've gotten your Nightmare Crownless. And for her, you want to max this one, and this one, and this one. If you're using White Hat form for bosses, do get this one as well. Okay, Shopkeeper. Okay, good energy regen. HP is kind of low. I guess this is the lowest HP Shopkeeper I've seen. Crit damage, we don't really care. Unless you want to min-max variation. Okay. I see. Healing bonus does work. But I think at this rate, you might want to get HP instead so that your shopkeeper is chunkier. Double energy, HP, HP. Yeah, do get HP fallacy instead so that your shopkeeper is a little bit chunkier. Your shopkeeper can maybe tank 1 or 2 hologram hit. Then I don't think you are at the state of your account is not ready to min max for shopkeeper echoes. So keep it as it is for now. Xiang Liao with, oh yes, Abyss Surges without his signature weapon. No, why? What is this? Why am I seeing Lingering Tunes Xiang Liao again? Who suggested Lingering Tunes Xiang Liao? Is this like some ongoing trend? This is the second Lingering Tunes Xiang Liao I've seen. Very important thing, anyone who uses Lingering Tunes, is that you want them to be on the field for at least 6 seconds to reach full power. Xiang Liao is a quick swap character, so you never want to use him with Lingering Tunes. If let's say you're using for hyper carry like Encore, fine, I understand. Maybe hyper carry Xiang Liao, even if it's like hyper carry Xiang Liao with Yin Lin. Why does Yin Lin have Void Thunder instead then? No! We do not use Lingering Tunes Xiang Liao, we use Void Thunder. You know why? When you oversaturate the tech stat on Xiang Liao, he has diminishing returns. You know what Void Thunder can do? Void Thunder, number 1, with Thundering Mephis, you also buff his liberation damage, so his outdo does more damage, and his enhanced Forte, which also scales off Resonance Liberation damage, will also gain that buff. 1.0 Lingering Tune Propaganda. And then just use Void Thunder on Xiang Liao, man. Lingering Tunes, maybe use it only in whimpering ways when you're using the Plunderer's Captain Seal. Other than that, you don't really ever want to use this. Anyways, if you're still using Xiang Liao, do make the change. Otherwise, you can leave him as it is. To Zhe has a signature weapon. Once again, your supports having signature weapons is cursed. Also, Zhe, you should be using Moonlit. With your current status of account, I recommend Moonlit over Myriad because Moonlit is way easier to build. You can use the Art of Theft on Moonlit and just put it across everyone that's a support. So yeah, Moonlit. Changli, your Changli stats actually look pretty okay. 3, 5, 2, 5, 4, 5, 5. This one's the 4, 5, and this one's the 3, 5. Changli, you want to use the Nightmare Inferno Rider now because the Nightmare Inferno Rider has the passive, and the passive for Nightmare Inferno Rider is fusion damage and resonance skill. So it's going to help your Changli a lot more. And since your stats here are kind of like okay but not the best, you can consider making the swap to Nightmare Inferno Rider. These two are pretty high stats, so with the current status of your account, probably keep them as they are, and only make the swap to Nightmare Inferno. Nightmare Inferno Rider, yeah, right here, should be unlocked. It should be unlocked by default. The ones that are not unlocked by default are crownless, and then they have to do the exploration quest over here before they can unlock the Tempest Mephis over here. Jinxi, 1.7. Attack's kind of low. Crit rate's okay. Crit damage might be a bit on the low side. Okay, 3, 5, 4, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, and 2, 5. You know what? Your Jinxi's echoes actually look surprisingly okay. Maybe if you do want to change this one, and then I think the rest can leave them as they are for now. Yeah, but the problem is you look 12.6, 12.6, and this one don't have, and 12.6 and 6.3. But with the current status of your account, I wouldn't say to min max on Jinxi, unless you are still interested in using Jinxi. Then, because Jinxi is actually still pretty good. If you still want to use your Jinxi, then rework on this one, because these two are lowest rolls. Then maybe look into rerolling this. And for Jinxie, 40 Circuit and Liberation, how long have you not played this account for? Or like, did you just not really bother with the exploration? I mean, not using them in exploration is fine. What you need to build for is Tower and Wuwa if you're planning to use it for the endgame modes. Yinlin, Cosmic Ripples. Not too sure if you want to use Void Thunder set with Cosmic Ripples. You could consider using the Out of Death volumes. Moonlit. Only Huanglong explored, I see. Why is Thundering Mephis on Yinlin? Did I accidentally move something? I do think you want Tempest instead of Thundering Mephis on Yinlin. Forte and Liberation once again. Yep, Nightmare Tempest, not the normal one. Do keep that in mind. CN, okay, attack, okay, energy regen, crit rate low, crit damage because there's no signature. You also want to use the Nightmare Phalion if you're using TN, but TN is also kind of outclassed now, so maybe not really. Maybe use him on the lower floors. 4-5, 3-5, 2-3-5, and 3-5. If you're still using TN, probably the Nightmare Phalion. But I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it. Verena, now on to Verena, 200 energy regen, Rectifier Voyager. You have another few more variations. What you can do is to have Verena on variation as well, so that you can use the variation passive on Verena, which helps her generate more concerto as well. As for Verena, you can use the fallacy instead of Bellborn. Unless you're using with Carthathia, then that's where you want to use Bellborn. And that's about it for Verena. We shall not look too much into Verena. You wouldn't need to dungeon. We will not talk about dungeon over here. We will not talk about the other resonators over here because you have quite a lot of characters to work on already. So if anything, just pretty much your support. If you're using dungeon for support, which I honestly highly doubt you will, then Sanhua with 49.5, Commando Conviction. Use Overture. Do you have Overture? Yes, you do. Use Overture. I guess you'll be... No. If Brand's using his own Overture, Sanhua's gonna need her own Overture as well. And that would make more sense. Moonlit Crit Rate, okay. Glacial, okay. Glacial. These two, however, use the full Moonlit set. I have no idea why you want double Havoc damage here to begin with. Sanhua's Glacier anyways, so a little bit of an interesting choice, not going to lie. But let's equip the tech so that Sanhua can fully buff whoever's incoming. As for those two Glacier, not Glacier, those two things over there, you can use it for your Cantarella. Yeah, you can use it for your Cantarella. This one's way much better than the Nimbus Wraith. What and why? I have no idea. Sanhua's Havoc, what do you mean? Okay, Y6, what the hell, man? Y6 trolling right away. Motefi, Relativistic Jet, probably using Static Mist when you're swapping in between. Unless it's with Galbrena, and with Galbrena, then, well, Relativistic Jet it is. Or you can use Cadenza. Kelcharo, we don't need to talk about Kelcharo. Baizhi just use Shopkeeper's Echoes when you actually need to. Tianxin, not really. Encore, you don't use. Only use Aero Rover in Tower, otherwise, probably not. And Aero Rover will just use Verena's Echoes. Maybe we'll need to, and the rest we can ignore. Okay, that's about it for account review. What to do if you don't have Carthathia weapon? You can use the standard weapon. The standard 5-star weapon works pretty well for Carthathia as well, it's just not as good. Hyper Career Replays now, you will definitely need the signature weapons to make the game a lot easier for you. Without their signature weapons, you're definitely going to need to use some quick swaps in between. See how you're like missing a little bit of points here. Alternatively, if you still don't want to get their signature weapons, that's perfectly fine. You have to make sure that you get really good echo rolls, and by getting good echo rolls, that's where you can technically not really need signature weapons as much. Anyways, no, you don't want to use Shopkeeper in the first one. If you do want to use Shopkeeper, you always want to use Shopkeeper in the second part. Also, what are you trying to do here? What the heck is this? Come on, man. Come on. if you're like out, use Reveler's Captain Seal. They are not applying any aero erosion, right? So your aero damage bonus is not working here. And I think for your number 7, you honestly don't need to use Plunderer's Captain Seal here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to challenge these. Rolova goes into the first slot, and then Cantarella, and then Rosha. But because your Rosha isn't really doing much justice for the team, I'll use Verena here. Then you can just use the blue flag, and then your second team will be Augusta, Shopkeeper, and and use the blue flag as well. Oh, do it! Yeah. Where's the rest? Are the rest spawning in? I guess not. 90 by end of service. But you see, you don't need to use. No, it won't work anymore on 2.8. We are still in 2.7. We have one more patch to use to use it. I need to remember that I need to use sub DPS rotation here because this isn't doing a lot of damage. There, you can complete it with blue buffs alone. And then now we're just gonna do it properly with this with Rolova, Verena, and Cantarella over here. We can just use the Reveler's Captain Seal. Honestly, might be just a bit of an overkill. Augusta, and and here we can just use Plunderer. Honestly, for me, right, reason why I start with my main DPS is so that I can just like rotate down. It wouldn't be as confusing for me. So for example, Rolova rotate down to Verena, so I know that Rolova is always going to rotate to Verena with the outro, then Verena to Cantarella, then Cantarella back to Rolova. So I'll rotate down 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Same as here, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. This will ensure that you have a structured proper rotation, and when your outro is ready, you just rotate onto the next character that actually needs the buff. There, using the proper tokens also do help you in clearing your Whimpering Waste. So definitely do not neglect on your proper token usage as well. Haven that gleams elegantly is very strong with Rolova, Galbrena, because they are always casting like echo skill damage or casting echo skill. So with that in mind, you actually do want to use like Rolova, Galbrena, Cantarella with Haven. And then here is where you want to use Augusta, Doorkeeper, and with the Gaze. I guess not enough here. That's fine.
そろそろ終わりの時間だ。悪には悪を。
そばにいてあげる。深海に誘いましょう。
Rotation might be a bit too long.
受け取りなさい。海のささやきを。深淵の安心先へ。生命の進歩にただを
逃がすわけだ。捕食する。
環境に耳を傾けるの。口ずさむ杉し日の残響。
火をま私に示そう。地獄の扉を。効果を燃やす。
大丈夫、私はここよ。毒よ、深淵を飲み込みなさい。終始は
Okay, rotation's a lot faster now.
生命の進歩に
悪魔の登場だ。
完全な先に笑いなさい。枯れてもなお咲き乱れる。
この身に葬ってやる。宴の始まりだ。効果を燃やす。借りたろ。
沈むのよ、水底へ。楽しいわ。溺れ破滅。生命の進歩に
トライ。
環境に耳を傾けるの。口ずさむ杉し日の残響。
燃えた私の手で地獄の門を開く。浄化しろ。
This whole theme is just the camera angle, can't see anything. Yeah, so imagine right, if you actually had
星の歌よ。
imagine if you actually had Rovers' signature weapon, you would be able to oh my god, you would be able to do so much better. My brain is not braining. Help.
一気に攻めるぞ。手はずは整って栄光をセブンヒルズに。戦意を。
This is yeah, this is infinite torrents.
この身を使いような
は整っている。
神聖を授ける。
Yeah, we do. But the fact that we are still able to get like 2k-ish like that, still pretty good. Yes, medical appointment. I have a pacemaker. If in case you didn't know, yeah, now you know. I have a pacemaker. So that tomorrow's medical appointment is to check up on my pacemaker, if it's still working as intended, and probably like what's happening to the battery percentage and all that. Is it better to have more ER? I don't need energy fusion. What the heck?
水の治療を告げる。ハカードアスト入力。華麗に優雅に焼却。楽しませることね。月が満ちたわ。
Ew, where's my crit?
敵は真実に因果を覆す。
共に戦おう。やったセブンヒルズのために。胸を張れ。太陽の輝きに。
Oh, come on. That one freaking... that one freaking fake me all the way over there, really, no?
この身をもって誓いをなす星の歌よニュー少し遊んであげる任せたわ与えなさいせめて日これが
4.5k for sure. For sure. What the... 50% with Shopkeeper and you're telling me that your ult had only one crit among all of the Hocus Pocuses? What the fuck was that? And also, since you're playing on mobile, right, you'll be doing hyper carry rotations. And for hyper carry rotations, once again, you are going to need your signature weapons and good echo builds to have a really easy time breezing through everything with your signature weapons.
輝きの瞬間
Bruh, Brent just missed both of his crits. What server am I? C server. I'm currently doing tower run for viewer. The bro is dancing and has no time to crit. GG. Yeah, very nice sip. Very nice sip. That one moment of sip that didn't allow me to press any other key on my keyboard. Last sip we are going. Yeah, after causing the slight delay in Brand not being able to do his anchor. The suspect skedaddles out of there. How naughty. Thank you. You have a good day too. Ren, where are you going? What the heck was that?
悪魔の行動だ火をそろそろ終わりの時間だ
Ren, what the frick, man? Okay, the two hardest floors are cleared. So we can deal with this floor now.
矢の先は真実に
よかぜよあった
I think the only problem you have here is that you are not rotating fast enough between your Augusta to Shopkeeper to Yuno. That's probably your rotation problem. So if you didn't know about Augusta, what you want to do, right, when you have the purple buff on Shopkeeper, you want to ensure that Shopkeeper outros to Yuno. Outro meaning that your concerto is full. This bottom bar over here is full for Shopkeeper before you swap out to Yuno. Otherwise, you will not be able to get this one extra bar on Augusta. And your whole rotation will essentially be bricked.
三日月よ神聖を授ける
So you see how my first rotation is okay, and then you have to watch the second rotation closely. Okay, here's the most important part. So after you do Shopkeeper special intro, or you swap to Shopkeeper, this swap buff that you see on the top left over here, you have to ensure that Shopkeeper outros to Yuno, so that Augusta will be able to get one extra majesty buff. So this means, you see this one buff over here, this means that Augusta, right, will not need to do 2 Griffins and she only need to do 1 Griffins. If she has to do 2 Griffins, that means you already messed up your rotation for Augusta somewhere.
共に戦おうあった隙を見せたな手はずは整っている胸を張れ太陽の輝きにこれで終わりだ
これが心
So once again, Shopkeeper, build up the concerto down here
星の歌よ
on the bottom left of this bottom left bar over here. Where's my mouse cursor? This one over here.
これが今
Make sure you outro in time.
私を見なさいこれが私の決意矢の先は真実に因果を覆す
よかぜよ手はずは整っている受けてみよ一気に
15, and then it should be dead. Not dead. Ulti again. Now let's free up this one so that you can have more resonators to work with in the future. By freeing up this one, you probably want to use resonators that you don't use often. For example, like Xiang Liao. I highly do believe that you don't really use Xiang Liao nowadays. So therefore, what you can do is you can just use Xiang Liao in the lower floors, clear the lower floors, and never have to bother using Xiang Liao ever again.
同調条件は揃った
The only time you need to worry about dying is the 3rd and 4th floor. Like the 3rd and 4th floor of Hazard Tower. This is where boss hits pretty hard. In the side towers, the bosses don't hit too hard, so it's quite okay. If I do quick swap shenanigans with Xiang Liao, I'm gonna
行くわよ
look at this Tempest Mephis. Amazing auto aim.
そろそろ
Where are you aiming, Tempest Mephis? What the? What? Mephis? Not Tempest. Thundering Mephis. My goodness. And then now, here is where you can use Farina. Replace Russia, put Farina, and then you're actually quite okay already. We might have forgotten to swap the weapons, but that's fine.
日向ぼっこの時間ですよ。一緒にはやる生命のシンフォニー。伴奏お願いできる。生と死の狭間にすがって心だけは白馬にあらず。そばにいてあげるわ。深海にいざないましょう。楽しいわ。シンフォニーおさします。受け取りなさい。海のささやきを。終焉。生命のシンフォニー。まだ落ち続けた。植物だって生きてるんです。リズムに乗って泣くせずに笑いなさい。口ずさむ杉し日の残響。
What I'm doing over here is it's a very different rotation, very different one compared to what you usually see. Don't really recommend it unless you know what you're exactly doing. Essentially, I'm using Cantarella to buff Prolova, and then Prolova to buff Cantarella. Verena will not need any of their intros and outros. What you can do, something very wacky with Overture Sanhua, she doesn't need any intro skill.
気をつけて。烈火のきらめき。その枷を解き放て。
Nice.
時には精神必要配慮をしないで。任せて。心配しないで。正確に。
So you see in the lower floors, you can don't be too afraid of fading damage. It's actually quite okay. Unless you're taking like a bajillion damage, then that's not okay. But all you need to do is to survive. And if you survive, you win. 私の後ろに。 There. As long as you have HP, you win.
こんな手はどう？朝日のきらめく霜のごとく配慮をしないで。烈火のきらめき。はっきり。こっち任せて。神にも劣らぬ。私の後ろに軽減せし監獄よ。逃げ切れるかな。こんな手はどう？任せて。正確に。私の後ろにその枷を解き放て。 心配しないで。烈火のきらめき。こっち任せて。こんな手はどう？私の後ろに軽減せし監獄よ。途中の任せて。逃げ切れるかな。
Boom.
私の後ろにその枷を解き放て。こんな手はどう？途中の手任せて。烈火のきらめき。はっきり。神にも劣らぬ。秋の雨が降り注ぐ。私の後ろに。
Okay, nice. And there you have it. Your tower's done. Remember that you can really invest in your Prolova, which is very strong. The ones you actually want to really invest on right now would be Prolova, Brand, Augusta, and Juno. I think if I remember correctly, yeah. And then after that, Carthasia, and maybe Zenny and Phoebe. Okay, GG's. Remember to claim these. Maybe should probably help you claim these just in case you forget later. And yes, that's for the account review. Hope you've learned something. It actually went a lot faster than I expected. Like, you have all the resonators that you need to be able to clear Whimpering Waste and Tower. You just need echoes, better echoes. If you can't get better echoes, get their signature weapon. Then you can clear Tower of Adversity with how I rotate. But because you're playing on a phone, you're going to need better echoes and signature weapon so that you can do your hyper carry rotation 1-1-1, and then after that you'll be able to clear these very easy. As for the rest of you watching on YouTube and TikTok, hope you've enjoyed the video as well, and happy gaming Rovers. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.